Hello and welcome to the first lesson in this unit looking at digital graphics. Before we start, there are three questions on your screen. What do we mean by the term graphic? What do we then mean by the term digital graphic? And what examples of digital graphics might you have seen already today? Pause the video at this point and note down your thoughts on those three questions. Don't panic if you're not sure, because that's kind of the whole point of this unit, but note down your thoughts so far before we move on. As I said, this is the first lesson in this series looking at digital graphics, and for us this one is aimed at Year 8 students. Today we're going to be looking at the idea of brand image, what brand image is, and how we might be able to come up with a brand image of our own. By the end of today's lesson, you are hopefully going to understand what the term brand image means. You're going to be able to explain what a strong brand image can mean for a product with examples, and you're going to be able to plan a brand image for a brand new product of your own. So we've got another video to watch to start with, and this is a video from BBC Bitesize. During the video, I'd like you to answer the following three questions in your book. Number one, what is brand image? Number two, what effect can brand image have on a product? And number three, what popular brands do we know that maybe have a really strong brand image? So I'm going to put the link in the description below. So if you pause this video, open up the link from the description and then have a watch of that BBC Bitesize clip, which is a couple of minutes long and should allow you to answer those questions. Pause the video now, have a look at the other video and answer the three questions while you go. So as you've hopefully seen from the other video, brand image is the impression that we're given about a certain product through things such as the logo, the colour scheme used on the packaging or within the adverts, labelling, the types of fonts that are used, and then the adverts that the company make that go along with the products. Brand image is what makes certain things cool and other brands not very cool, and it can even, as you saw in the BBC Bitesize clip, promote a sugary drink in the form of Sunny Delight to nearly overtake Coca-Cola as the world's most popular drink. Sunny Delight was one that was massive a few years ago, based purely on their marketing, and one that you probably barely see at all nowadays. So brand image can have a really massive impact on a product, and whenever a company are creating a new product, the brand image is something they are really thinking about. Pause the video at this point and have a think what sort of brand image you might associate with the following logos. What sorts of words? Are they cool or uncool, expensive or cheap? And think about how things like the fonts that are used, the colours that are used, and the shapes that are used lead you to think that. The font in the Lidl logo is very, very different to the font used in the Ralph Lauren logo. Pause the video at this point and just think in your head, what sorts of words might you associate with BMW, Ralph Lauren, Nike, Lego, Apple, Marks & Spencer's, Nokia, and the Lidl logos? What do those logos make you think? So for me, there are a couple of key examples there. The Ralph Lauren logo, for example, has a font that makes me think expensive, rich, high quality. The Lego font makes me think childish, not something that's probably aimed at much older people. Marks & Spencer's, on the other hand, though, the font there does make me think of maybe a brand aimed at slightly older consumers. The Lidl font, the logo, the yellow, the blue and the red, doesn't make me think of something overly classy, but the Apple logo with the silver and the sort of faded gradient does make me think of a really classy brand. You can see there the sorts of ideas that are already put in your head just from looking at a logo. So you're now going to create a new brand for a drink company called Superfizz. What this company is, though, is entirely up to you. It is a drinks brand and it is called Superfizz, but you need to decide, is it a sugary Coca-Cola rival? Is it a health drink? Is it a gym supplement? Is it an energy drink? It's entirely up to you. You need to think around what sort of drink your Superfizz drink is going to be. We're now going to begin to plan out our Superfizz brand, and one way of planning something out is through something called a mind map. A good mind map has a central node with lots of subnodes or branches coming off of that. Now that will make a lot more sense in a second when we look at an example. So in this example you can see we've got the central node, and that's the bit in the middle that says how to mind map. Coming off of that, we've then got a range of branches, and some of those split off into subnodes, so they split off more than once. For example, in the right-hand side, we've got use color, and that splits off then into equipment, pencils, highlighters, fine tip pens, thick tips, and then why, separate out ideas, highlight similar themes, more interesting. Okay, you can see how we've got our different color-coded sections to allow us to begin to brainstorm our ideas for our whatever it is we're creating. Now in ours, we're going to be creating a drinks brand. So you might have a branch coming off around the color scheme. You might have another branch around the types of language. You might have another branch coming off around types of fonts that you might decide to use. So pause the video at this point, and I'd like you to create a basic mind map outlining your ideas for your brand. I'd like you to include subnodes to expand your initial ideas on topics such as the type of drink, the colour schemes, maybe the type of person that it's going to be aimed at. How old are they? What sorts of interests do they have? Are they particularly male or female, or are you going to be aiming at both? Pause the video at this point to try and fill up your A4 page with as many ideas as you can, looking back at the example mind map on the previous slide if you need to. Pause the video at this point and give yourself about 15 minutes to create your mind map. We now need to create 6 concept logos to go with our drinks brand. Now, if we were doing this in school, we'd use Microsoft Publisher, we'd create an A4 page, and we'd then split the page into 6 boxes using a basic grid. As you're probably doing this at home, you need to be a little bit more creative, and you've got a couple of options. You could do this with hand-drawn. You could draw this in your book. You could use a ruler and split your page into 6 boxes that way. You could use Microsoft Word, which is available to all students for free via Office 365. Or you could go online and find one of the many logo creator websites and create 6 separate logos on that website. Have a think now about how you'd like to create your logo, and I'm going to outline what you need to include in a little bit more depth in a second. So, in whatever way you've chosen, I'd like you to create 6 basic logo concepts by combining a range of images and then probably the brand name Superfizz over the top. My most basic logo, for example, might be a drinks can on a slight angle with Superfizz written across. Now that's obviously very basic, but that might be logo number 1. You might then make logo 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 a little bit more complex. Use your mind map to think, does my logo show off those ideas that you came up with? If you wanted your drink to be a classy type of soft drink, you're probably not going to have luminous green with bright pink font over the top. You might stick to more silver and gold type colours. If you wanted your drink to be aimed at children, you probably aren't going to use Times New Roman as your font, because that's a font we normally associate with older people and things like newspapers. So I'd like you to pause the video at this point and give yourself probably the next half an hour to create 6 logos, and when you're done you can then pick your favourite, save that, and you're going to need that one later on in this unit. This is the last activity for this lesson, so like I say, you should have a good half an hour to complete 6 different Superfizz logos. Hopefully you've now got an idea of the following 3 things. You hopefully understand what the term brand image means. You're hopefully able to explain what a strong brand image can do for a product with a couple of examples. And hopefully you've been able to plan a brand image for a product of your own in your Superfizz drink. If you think you've struggled with any of those, feel free to go back and watch through the video again. Other than that, thank you very much for watching.